We're in the money. Hey, how y'all feeling out there? It's time to go, baby. Yes, sir. Y'all come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. We got a great show tonight. We have a great show tonight. We're live on Facebook, live. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitter. We're live everywhere. It's a beautiful thing. We're going to have a great conversation tonight. It's election time. We have two of my good friends that's going to join us real, real soon. Once I get everybody in this room, Mr. Wallace Aristide and Mr. D.C. Clark. These gentlemen are running for commissioner, Miami-Dade County. And the good thing about these two guys, they are good friends. And the love that they have for this community is second to none. You know, we're gonna wait for our good friend DC Clark to get into the green room. He should be in there shortly, and then we're gonna bring the two guests on. But for the most part, I just want everybody to, y'all know how we do it. Let me know where all y'all from. I know you're from all around the world. You're from Dade County. You're from Broward County. You're from Louisiana in the building. I see. Who else? Hey, greetings, Sal. I see you. But we're gonna have a good show tonight. This is gonna be a great conversation about the community, about who you should be voting for. Remember, we extended the invitation to all of the candidates that are in this particular race, which comes up in August. And we urge everyone to get out and vote. And we urge everyone to sit there here and listen to the conversation. Hey, what's up, Lil Haiti? I see y'all in here. We urge everyone to sit here and listen to the conversation and listen to the individuals that are talking. And if you have questions, I'll post the questions up, for you to ask of the candidates. We'll have a Q&A, pretty much at the end, but we're going to be able to let guys get on and just say what they got to say about how they're going to help the community. I see you, Dade County, Pompano, Richmond, North Carolina, y'all up in here. It's a whole bunch of people from around the world. It's good that you guys are from around the country that are in the room right now, because these are the things that you need to be doing and talking about within your community. Hey, I see you, Phyllis. Glenn, I see you, Glenn. Glenn been around for years. Glenn is Miramar's up in here. Born and raised in Miramar and live in Liberty City. How did that happen? That don't normally happen. You normally live in Liberty City and then move to Miramar like me. That don't normally happen. But again, folks, we have a great conversation. We're gonna have a great conversation tonight. I can't wait to get this thing started. Phone a friend right now. Let them know DC Clark, Mr. Aristide, with Mr. Wallace Aristide. They're gonna be on tonight, and they're gonna talk about some of the issues that concerns the community, as well as they want your vote. That's the bottom line. These are two great gentlemen. They want your vote. They want you to make a decision tonight. Hopefully, they can help you make a decision. Hopefully, they can help you make a decision. What's happening, Jacksonville? Lil Haiti in here. We got North Miami in the building. This is your district, North Miami. This is a very important race for you. Hey, Chris, I see you. But we're going to wait till Mr. Clark get on in here, and then we're going to get this thing on and popping, on and cracking, like we like to say it. But share the page right now, folks. Share it. Put it out there. Let them all know that this is what's going on. And if they don't get to see it, they can always see it in its entirety on a replay. The replays are much better. The replays are really more better than the actual broadcast. Hey, Lisette, I see you, Lisette. How you doing, Lisette? My girl, we got a real football coach. Uh, Matthew, I see you, Mr. Tisdale. Matthew, you up in here, Matthew. This is going to be a great conversation. I know you're interested in this conversation here, Matthew. Palm Bay, Chicago. We got people from all around the world up in here. This is going to be a great conversation. I can't wait. This is my first forum for this political cycle. You know, I normally do these forums. I did the mayor, I did commissioners, I did forums with you name it. You know, the response be great. And, you know, people get to listen because normally I just ask questions and shut up and let the candidates do their talking because it's not about me. It's about the candidates being able to get their point across and talk about the things that they want to see happen, the things that they want to do within the community. And you know, that's why it's important to just ask questions and back up and let the candidates, you know, say the things that they want to say because they're the ones who are going to be sitting in the seat. And let me say this. I know there's presidential elections and I know there's senator elections, there are all types of elections that are going on. The local elections are the most important ones. You complain about getting a fair trial in the courtroom. Well, the judges are voted on. And that's why we always urge people to get a voter's registration card and go out and vote. You want to know about the different things that are happening in your community, whether there's gentrification. Well, that's your local commissioner, your county commissioner, your city commissioner, your city mayors. Those are the people who affect those things. You want to know about schools and why certain things are not happening in your schools. Well, you got to vote for the school board representatives. And those things are very, very important. So again, local elections directly affect you right now. National elections, you know, have a tendency of affecting you 3 or 4 years down the line, you know, because that's federal dollars that you expect to have come into the community. But when you talk about local election, you can get on the phone, and if the street lights are out in your community, then you can get on the phone right now and call your county commissioner and say, County Commissioner, we don't have any street lights. And those things get fixed right now. And so that's why it's very important to participate in this type of forum, as well as, hey, Eric Knowles, my man Eric Knowles in here, very, very, very influential and powerful individual within the community. Happy to have you up in here. Lock Point. You grew up in Lock Point. What is Lock Point? Happy to have you in here, Eric. I mean, these are very, very important issues. So that's why, you know, political races, the local races, to me, are the most important ones. You know, we get excited when it's a presidential campaign, a presidential election. Yeah, we get all excited because that's all on the news all day. But what directly affects you is these type of races right here, these type of conversations. You know, you want to be able to elect the right person who's going to serve the community in the right way. Shipman, what you say, Shipman? Shipman says, Luke, man, I want to move back to Miami so bad. But why they don't make it affordable? That's why we're having this conversation, Shipman. Miami is so high, and the original Miamians are leaving the city. This is the question, Shipman. I'm gonna make sure this is one of the questions that we ask tonight, because this is one of the most important questions, Shipman. You're right. Miamians are leaving. Miamians feel like they can't afford it. Miamians are looking at Miami. Hey, look, cost of living is going up, but where are the jobs to fit the cost of living? Because if we can't afford to stay in Miami, then we got to go. You're right, Shipman. So that's why this forum here is so very important. It's why it's so very important. And I want, if I forget to ask the question, which I'll probably, that's one of my questions anyway, you come back around and you ask the question on the Q&A, and these gentlemen will be more than happy, because I know people want to come back. I don't want to get to the point where we're doing a slogan like the Bahamas, whereas come back to the Bahamas, come back to the Bahamas, come back to the Bahamas, because obviously everybody left. But I know that's a marketing campaign for people to come visit the Bahamas, because Bahamas is a tourism destination. But there was a point in Miami-Dade County, and I'm old enough to know, when I went to school at Miami Beach Senior High, it looked like the Scarface movie. And before that, it didn't look like that. It looked like what you see it as now. It was condos, it was high rises. Elvis was coming down for spring break, like you see college students here. And then the fabric of Miami Beach changed. It became old because you ended up having the wrong elected officials in. They wanted to get rid of the spring breakers. And so when they got rid of the spring breakers, they forgot that the people who were living in the condos were seniors. And so after 10 years, these retired seniors at 65 at the time turned 75. And the upkeep of the buildings wasn't as kept up as it should be. And it turned into a big convalescent home on South Beach, until a new regime came in 20, 30 years later and said, hey, look, we're going to put some pink and green on the building and some aqua, and Nemo is going to paint the islands, and now we're going to do some Art Deco movement. But again, it was the wrong elected officials, and let it happen. That's the same thing can happen to Miami. But this is the reason why we have these conversations. Again, we're still here waiting for Mr. Clark. We're waiting for Mr. Clark to come on. We got Mr. Aristide already. He's ready to go. He's prompt and on time in the green room. Maybe we're gonna get this thing going before. Okay, somebody please call Mr. Clark and tell him we're waiting on him. He'll be here. He's normally on time. I really did tell him 7:15. I told him 7:15. So he's actually not off time. The Bahamas. You went to Miami-Jackson Senior High. That's fantastic. That's a beautiful thing, because we got two guys on here running for office that actually went to public school here in Miami-Dade County as well. So tonight is going to be a great conversation. We have two candidates running for county commissioner live right here. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful right here. So, Chris, I see you, Chris. You ready? You ready? I know you're ready for this conversation, Chris. It's going to be good. I got Mr. Wallacey in here right now. I'm going to just go ahead and bring Mr. Wallacey up. There you go.
Thank you so very much.
Look at my good friend.
Hey, my friend. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you very good, sir.
Awesome. I want to thank you for this platform. I think it's amazing, an opportunity for us to have a dialogue and a conversation among friends. I think this allows us to be able to communicate some things that I think that are very important. I mean, young people always say, you ain't about this life. And there was a time where I would say I was not about this life, but things have changed. I've become a part of this life, and I've decided to go ahead and run. There's some things I saw during the pandemic, and sometimes put too much time on your hand, and it give you too much time to think about some things that you feel that you can make a difference about.
That's a great thing. I don't want to get you started.
Now, I know you don't want to get me juiced up
until our man DC is in, but
okay.
I just want everybody to know how good of friends we are. I mean, you my main man. Shoot, your son's mother.
Yes.
Used to live down the street from me.
Yes.
Man.
We used to stay in that area too, 1101 Northwest 58th Street.
1101.
Yeah, 1101.
1095 Northwest 58th. You already know. See, that's people need to know. People need to know how close we all are.
Yeah.
And there go my main man, DC Clark.
Yes, sir.
Hello, fellas. What's happening?
How you doing, my brother?
Good. Hey, brother Aristide, how you doing, man?
I'm good, my brother. It is so good to see you. I want to thank you for what you continue to do here in the community, what you continue to do in the area. I mean, maybe people don't know, we've been knowing each other for years. A lot of stuff with my brother and I. We appreciate it. We just happen to be, we made a decision to do the same thing, but you are my guy.
Hey, same here, bro. Much love to you and your brother, man. Been knowing y'all for a while, and much love to you, man. Win, lose, or draw, you still my guy, bro.
No. Hey, I'm with it.
All right. With that said, I'm glad we shared these pleasantries, and once again, I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight. I think it's a very important conversation. Again, I extended the invitation to all of the candidates, and you guys. Unfortunately, my good friends responded, and they wanted to come on and have this conversation. I just wanted to say to you guys, any given time that you're running, or if you're not running or anything, you could always use this platform. I don't even have to be on here. You could just say, Luke, turn the camera on. I got some things I want to say and get off my chest to this audience. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Twitter. We're on 3 different Facebook pages. One about 400,000, and another one about a couple of other ones 5,000 or more. And we're live on YouTube as well. And it'll get to replay. And I think most people like to look at the replay while they're working out and things. So this is going to be a great conversation. I'm happy that you guys were able to break out of your running up for office and come on here and have a conversation. I guess we'll start off with you, Mr. Clark. You can go ahead and say how you feel about the race and your opening speech.
Well, I'm fortunate. Actually, I'm honored to be in a race with so many stalwarts in this community, including Mr. Aristide, are running for District 2 Commissioner. One thing is for certain, whoever comes out of this race, it's going to be well-deserved, but District 2 should be honored because they have so many individuals that have paved the way and have been doing the work throughout the years. Marlene Bastine, primarily in the Haitian American community. Joe Celestine, one of the first, if not the first, Haitian American who have paved the way for his people in this community. And there appears to be the mayor of North Miami, Bieniemy, have been doing great things as well. So I'm not going in this race to denigrate or spread hate on anybody's name. I just put myself up and my record up against these individuals to see whether or not I'm the best candidate in this particular race. And like always, the people will choose. And we have faith that the people will make the right choice. But as me and Brother Aristide have discussed numerous times, whoever prevails can count on me to be by their side. Why? Because I live in this district, just like all other individuals in this race live in this district. I personally have been doing work most of my adult life to elevate this entire community, not just a few, not just my side of of the expressway. But we've walked with John Juice. I've almost lost my career as a firefighter by walking with John Juice on 54th Street and on 79th Street in front of the immigration building for Haitian rights. And African Americans know I've been working on my side of the fence for pretty much my entire career. So with that said, let the race begin. And I'm looking forward to a nice, hearty conversation. And hopefully we can keep it civil, we can keep it respectful, and understand that win, lose, or draw, we all need to be at the table when it comes to elevating this community to its rightful height.
I agree. I love what you say. Honest, respectful, and elevated to a whole nother high. Mr. Aristide.
Well, let me say this. I thought that was a great conversation, great segue, great dialogue. And when he talked about that, he was one of those people that I knew as a little young guy, a little youngster here in this county, that they came and they had people protesting, and the immigration department came and started pulling people. And they started saying, we got y'all, we're going to deport y'all back. When they found out that there was African Americans, right, they pulled out the line. They're like, wait a minute, what's going on? They didn't know that we have brothers and sisters in Miami-Dade County that saw the plight of that community and were the first to get on hand to be able to help, to be able to support. I saw that as a youngster. I saw some of those challenges that we worked collectively, because when they said the perimeter was surrounded by African American and you have the Haitian American in the middle, I think we got to understand that, and we got to come together collectively, because the one area in Miami-Dade County with the most people that look like us is in District 2. It's like 51 or 52%, if I'm not mistaken, are people that look like us in District 2. No other district has it. You can go check the record books. And no other district that I know of that you have these kind of folks that are the majority. And I just talk quickly. 69, little boy here in Miami-Dade County, little tiny tot. I've seen a lot happen in Miami-Dade County. Single parent, struggling. Work was tough for her. She had the right accent. My mama had the right accent. She caught it here in Miami-Dade. She just got tired of it. She bought and started selling junk. That's how we were able to survive. She was out there every Saturday and Sunday, Hialeah flea market. So I'm a child raised from the flea market. I remember in the early 70s, we came out of a show called Sanford and Son. They ridiculed, laugh us, call us mother and son. That's what I came through. Had no AC and nothing like that. Hey, you got to be kidding me. We didn't have that. No hot water, no hot water heater. All those people that took those things for granted and had those luxuries, we didn't have it. We understand the sacrifice. We understand the struggle. I think while we, the ones that here, we know where we come from. We know some of the things that we face here in Miami-Dade County. There's a historical record in our mind that allows us to think of all those problems so we can connect with people with challenges. And I've been doing this work for years in Miami-Dade as an educator. And like I mentioned to you earlier, I never thought I was going to be about that life, about being an educator. I was getting ready to go and work with a lawyer, Novak, downtown. I started working with young people. It just engaged me. It just made me feel something in my heart. That's what I was compelled, and that's what I'm here to do. And I began to do that. I did not know, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I did not know I was going to become the principal. I think both y'all understand this, of one of the schools with a lot of challenges. I think we understand the issues. I ain't gonna lie, because I used to be over there where you were at, DC. And then they got me right here with this. I didn't know I was gonna be doing this. I didn't know I was gonna be waving this, but we took on the challenge. I think everybody that knows or know the story, you have seen the results, what we've done, but it was people that came around us. They helped build us up to allow us to do those things. So I go in here, and I think we can relate to what I'm saying. We go in here with the struggles. So many that came before us that they faced. Today, now we have an opportunity for all these people to run in this race. At one time, it wasn't like that. I think if we look at Miami-Dade, historically, it wasn't like that. So knowing that, given the opportunity, knowing what we went through, knowing where we came from in the past, the job's got to be done to help all those people that got us here, that put us here. Because if it wasn't for them, if it wasn't mama, and if it wasn't auntie, and if it wasn't cousin, and if it wasn't no single dads out there that was in the struggle, I wouldn't even be doing this. I think we understand that. I think we understand that conversation.
Yes, I mean, hey, we definitely understand that conversation. That's why, that's why I say you guys, for me, are the two best candidates because again, you're pounding the pavement on a daily basis, and you're out there in the community, and you guys are not no fly by nights. To have you, the two of you, decide simultaneously at the same time that you want to run for this particular office here. Um, um, it's amazing, and I know you probably didn't even think the two of you probably would have ended up in the same place here at the same time. So,
Right.
but I could tell Miami, and in District 2, you got two great candidates that are right here. You can't go wrong with either one of them. With that said, I guess my first question is, since I went to DC first, I'll go to you, Mr. Aristide. Why are you running for office? Why now? I mean, why do you feel that you want to transition from educator, a great educator, to now wanting to be the commissioner of District 2?
I'll go and I'll start off with this, and I'll go into some things a little more personal. When you think of Carrie Meek, educator, legislator. When you think of Audrey Edmondson, educator, legislator. When you think about Rebecca Sosa, same thing, educator, legislator. I believe our board member, educator, legislator before she became a board member. So those type of things have demonstrated that in our community, those type of people can be impactful. Because when you're an educator, you understand what people are going through. You're not coming from no ivory tower. You're not living a certain lifestyle. There's no disconnect. So those of us, and I think I think my other candidate would agree, we are what they call essential workers. When there's a problem, we the first line of defense. We're the ones that put ourselves in harm's way. We're the ones that go out there and try to help our community. So we understand that. So I saw some problems. I saw some issues. I won't lie to you. I got frustrated. I got a big flood in 2020. We're in a flood zone. I saw the water. I'm like, what are we doing down there? This got to be solved. If they solved it in Sweetwater, why we can't solve it here in my area in Biscayne Gardens? I was just baffled. We got to be able to solve some of these problems. I saw some issues with people. I saw those lines. We have been working the food pantry at our church for years, and the lines are getting longer. And I'm like, wow, people here need some help. And I saw some personal problems with some families that I work with daily. Some of these families were homeless. We were out there making calls, trying to help them. Go ahead and see what we can do to try to be able to assist them. We partnered up with Key Biscayne Foundation and others, and they were able to help us get food for them, food coupon, different things we were able to do. And we did those things. The word just came to me from some of the people we were helping. They say, hey, Ms. Aristide, you're a great guy. We think you could be more than a principal. We think if you make this decision to go down there, we think you could be extremely helpful, and you can get a direct call. So I guess they were setting me up for a direct pipeline. I'm not gonna lie to you, and if you don't mind me calling you Unc, since they call you Uncle Luke, Unc, I think I tried to talk myself out of it really a couple years ago, but it's just something that kept coming to me, and it kept appealing me, and I just felt I had to get involved in this. That's why I did it. I had no idea it was going to be like this because a lot of the names are mentioned there, people I know, I respect, people I have reached out and let them know I was running. I've dialogued with everybody except one person that never called me back, but it's okay. But I did make the call. I did extend the call and did the extended the olive branch because for us, for me, for our campaign, I think we would agree, this is not about conflict. This is about competition.
Same question to you, Mr. Clark.
Well, brother, you've known me for a while yourself. I unabashedly can say I am Miami. Born in Overtown, lived in Scott Projects, went to Ponciana Park Elementary, moved to the Arcola community where there was still 80% whites living in that area. Went to Miami Central, got a football scholarship from Central, went to Northern Iowa University, where I became the second African-American captain in that school's history. Came back as an educator myself, taught at various high schools, your Miami Edison being the second high school. I started off as JV head coach at American Senior High, then Edison as a defensive coordinator, then Carroll City, and then I wind up at Miami Northwestern. Became a firefighter that served most of this county in 1983. During that time, when Haitian Americans were deep in that street fighting for their rights, we joined with them. Now, let me segue to this. Haitians got the raw end of the deal because when they first started coming over here, this government, and make no mistake about it, this particular government was telling African Americans that they were dirty, they had AIDS, they were coming over here to take your jobs, and any despicable thing they can get under our skin with, and we bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. And because of that, some of us gave Haitian Americans hell. But on the other end of the stick, and this is a story that's not told too often, that same government was telling Haitian Americans that African Americans are lazy, they're no good, they're shiftless, and they don't want to take advantage of the opportunities given to them in this country. And because of that, there was a divide that still lasts today, particularly among older Haitians. And we have to get rid of that. I know Mr. Aristide shared the same vision of unity in this district, just as I do. So it's nothing new. We have to come together to realize our political and economic strength. And this is what I plan on doing. Again, I've almost lost my job walking with Lavaris Gardin, VAO, meeting with Haitian Americans. Why? Because we didn't fall for the okey-doke. We understood the political dynamics that surround these groups. The real reason they didn't want us together, because they knew that if we came together, wow, how much power we would truly have. And this is not to discount the other ethnicities in this area. Why? Because whites deserve a fair share, Latins deserve a fair share, all other people from the Caribbean and from Africa deserve a fair share in this community. So I believe I'm the best candidate for it, to bring everybody together, simply because I lived that life. I went on to retire from the fire department. I became president of iCare, and iCare, which advocated Black principles, including Mr. Aristide and his brother, at strong, troubled African-American schools. We insisted that he go to Northwestern because we knew the power he had within. We insisted that his brother go to Booker T. Washington because iCare realized how powerful these young brothers are. They used to come to me in my bookstore, Afro Books and things, and ask me, Brother Clark, what books should I read? I assisted them both in those areas. And look at them now. Not to say I had too much to do with it, but I had a percentage on what on their success. And I greatly appreciate those brothers, and they both have served this community well. So that's my plea, bro. I'm here. I've always gotten along with other groups. I think I may be the candidate who has served this county in its entirety from one end to the other. So I will be proud to serve this company, this county, and continue the work that I've done practically for 35, 40 years in this community.
Okay, Mr. Aristide, I'm pretty sure, and this question is for both of you guys. Um, you know, 79th Street has a has a fund, and I want to think is, I don't know, 119, and with this, it's two different um, community action funds similar to what you have in Overtown.
The CRA.
Yeah.
CRA funds. I think it's I know it's a CRA fund in on 79th Street, and another CRA fund on 7th Avenue.
Yeah, 7th Avenue CRA, yes.
So you have two CRAs and that would be in you guys' districts. You see how the CRA is functioning and working well in Overtown to do some good work in the Overtown area. How do you guys, and this question is for both of you guys, how do you see using that CRA? Does it need more funds, or how do you see using that CRA to create businesses and create opportunities for African Americans and Haitian Americans within that community?
Let me say this. I had a chance to meet with the head of CRA on 79th Street. We started having dialogue, and I just went to go hear and to go listen, not to come and dictate or tell nobody what to do. I wanted to know from his perspective, what are some things that we need to put in place? He did mention to me they took a hit in 08, 09. There were some very serious challenges. And then he also mentioned to me we're coming out of pandemic, but I know we've gotten some funds from DC, from this current administration. And our conversation and dialogue, okay, we got it. One of the things I will say about District 2, maybe one of the districts right now that I believe is prone for growth, because this seems to be one of the ones that really has not tapped into, one of the ones that a whole lot of, like, because when you look at other areas, a lot of areas in Miami-Dade, the people are prosperous. They're doing exceptionally well. But in District 2, you don't see the same thing for our people that are living in District 2. So the big things for us in District 2 is going to be wealth, it's going to be opportunity, and it's going to be safety. Now, we know when you talk about wealth, and you mentioned it earlier, wealth, to me, the biggest wealth we've ever known was home ownership. When I saw businesses, and I was part with some people, Fontroy and some other folks when I was in college, we would come down here and we talk about businesses. We would march up and down 54th to 7th Avenue, protest and support those businesses in that area. We thought that was big. We thought that was vital. So we understand that some of our folks, we were renting businesses. I'll give you an example. I talked to a guy. There's a place I think we all know. It's called Wynwood. The man was on 28th Street and 2nd Avenue. He was paying $3,000 a month. The landlord said, hey, we're going to have to give you an increase. Now, he's expecting, yeah, it's got to be an increase. Maybe we'll go $4,000 or $5,000 a month. When they told that brother, you're going to pay $13,000 a month, he ran out of there. So we got to take not only home ownership, we got to take business ownerships. These plazas, these strip malls, we've got to own them. And when you talk about opportunities, when people are coming, and I think we all would agree to this, when you come in to develop, how are you going to impact the community? Who's going to get an opportunity for employment? Very similar to 7th Avenue. 7th Avenue could be developed. There's opportunities that we need to look at, maybe some things we need to look at with some type of enforcement to get people to understand that we need not just those businesses, but we need beautification. It's got to be appealing. We need money to come inside District 2. Just like I mentioned a place right now, that a lot of money are coming in at Wynwood. So we need some amenities, 7th Avenue, 79th Street, to allow people to say, hey, there's an event. And I've talked to some people about this because I think it's important. Hey, we've got a major event. It's happening in District 2. So you get people from the other 12 districts that feel like, hey, we can come to District 2. But they got to know that not only is appealing, that it's safe and it's secure, and there are going to be some things there where there's a commitment, because I think as the county commissioner in District 2, We got some municipalities. We got to be the biggest cheerleaders for those municipalities. We got to be major supporters of those municipalities. And our platform, the Succeed with Aristide platform, we're working to make sure that all of us in District 2, that we're all successful together. That's what this is about for us. I think you might be muted, my brother. I know you're having a great dialogue with yourself, but I think you're muted. You got your mute on. You got your mute on.
You got your mute on, Luke.
Your mute is on.
Man, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I like to let people talk. The same.
I love
it. the same question with you, DC, because I know, just like you said in your opening, you walk the streets of 79th Street. You from the Miami Central to the Miami Northwesterns, and as a firefighter, and to see 79th Street look the same way it is right now, and they have a CRA. I mean, what are some of the things that you see, and how do you feel that you can be able to tap into that money, whether it's money that's given for that area through cities, or how do you plan on tapping into that money and beautifying that area?
Well, it's a great question. The other funding source, Luke, was the CDBG. That's the Community Development Block Grant. That's what we were searching for earlier. While I think we should strive to receive all of the funding that is directed toward us, oftentimes those funds that are earmarked for our particular district winds up in other districts because we don't demand that those funds hit the ground. But the first thing I would do, in addition to going after every penny that's owed to District 2, is to try to change the mindset of people, Black people in general. Why? Because everybody run to our district to get paid. As a kid, I remember almost every store was owned by a Jewish person or a Chinese person. You know why? Because they recognize that our money spent. Just like everybody else money spent. So in addition to making sure all of those funds earmarked to our particular district, I'm trying to get investors to reinvest into the Black community. Investors who look just like us. There's too many athletes, too many entertainers, too many business persons with the bag, with some money, who can come into our community and turn it into an oasis, just like others who come into our community, yet take our money and run towards the hill. But when they get paid, they don't reinvest their money. They don't spend their money in the Black community. Our money stays in our community less than one rotation. Less than one rotation. It don't even go around one time. Yet we willingly spend it with others. You understand? Enriching others and making ourselves poorer. So we will do a fact-finding mission with the people who live in District 2, and we will ask them, what do they need? Because we don't have all of the answers. Don't be fooled now. Mr. Aristide is smart, but he doesn't have all the answers. DC can handle itself, but he doesn't have all of the answers. And I tell you, not one politician in this race have all of the answers. The onus should be on the people and not us. What their needs, their wants, their desires, their fears. Why? Simply because they live here every day just like us. We have to deal with such issues as safety and more lights on the street so that they can feel safe in their own community. We have to deal with such issues as the police department. Everybody talking about defunding the police. Well, maybe some police departments are not with you 100%. And we have to find that out before we go forward. So we're going to, first of all, make sure that those CDBG grants and opportunities will come to our our door and we use them wisely based on the information we receive from the people, we will make sure that the CRA grants that are available to our people are utilized to the point that it benefits the people of the community. We are just the mouthpieces for the people. That's all we are. Unfortunately, some of us get into the door and we turn this opportunity into becoming celebrities. I'm a servant, not a celebrity. You're not going to catch me getting fat at banquet tables or doing some parade waving, and all of a sudden, DC goes from servant to celebrity. I'm a grunt. I work hard on the ground, and that's what I would continue to be once I am elected your commissioner.
And let me, that's interesting that you said that, and something I always talked about a lot was that between you two guys and the work that you've done in the education sector, what you've been doing for God knows how long, I don't want to tell you age, but between Miami Northwestern, Mr. Aristide, and Miami Central, Mr. DC, I would say probably in the last 10 years, you have created more millionaires through the work that you've done that have a possibility to come back with the encouragement to invest in the community.
In the community.
With all of the star football players and baseball players and basketball players and soccer players that have came out of those two high school institutions, you're talking hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and just having a conference with those guys and say, here's the opportunities. Here's the opportunities. I'm commissioner. It stays back black. But I just was thinking about that. And that's why I love the fact that you two guys are running, because you have that outreach that I don't know of any other candidate or any other commissioner sitting on the dais that has that access to those gentlemen and young men and young ladies as well. So my question is, because what's running, go ahead.
Let's interject something quickly, and I'm glad we're having this conversation. I think we both have had that opportunity, because I've reached out, even a young man in Miami Central, when I was a coach there and I was coaching Miami Central, I did reach out to him, and I've reached out to others at Miami Northwestern, and we talked about opportunities to get them invested and engaged, because some of the guys that I spoke to, they've already retired. And I said, hey guys, we've got a tremendous opportunity here. Let's work together. Let's look at how we can pull our resources together. And some of these people are already doing things. They already started businesses where they're building and rehabbing houses, and they're selling houses to people in the community. They're giving people a place to live. So I've seen that excitement. I've seen that energy with the ones I've had an opportunity to speak with. I don't want to mention their name without their permission and let them know I would mention their name, but we've already made that connection because we thought it was important. We thought it was important to get them. You're right. They got the money. We don't have those, like mentioned here. We ain't got them kind of big pockets, but they got those pockets, and they can bring a value add. And what they can also do, they can motivate and inspire those people that are around their age group. We need those young people to know that you got candidates that you listening to here. You can connect with these people. You can connect with folks that understand you, people that have been around you. You can have that communication. You know, when you mention safety, a lot of times these young folks that are committing these acts that really give our community not only just a bad reputation, but very destructive to our community. I think we got to go out and talk to these young brothers. Yo, bro, we can't be out here. You know, a 5-year-old, not too far from me, and you were there, DC. I saw you speaking, but little 5-year-old at a birthday party. Come on, it can't be that way. We've got to go ahead and let these folks know that this got to cease and desist. We're trying to make this community better for them, because a lot of them would tell you they come from a single mom. It remind me, and I'll let you ask your question. I remember when Deion Sanders had that conversation, and he said they were ridiculing, they were laughing, and he wouldn't come up and make the tackles. But he talked about he tackled his mama's bills. And I get that and I understand that. when you're coming from a single family household, how to go ahead and help that parent make a difference. So we are coming on the backs of these people that made so many sacrifices, and we want to help these young people to see the way that they can really bring a value add, and they can help us have a better quality of life.
That's again, you pushed me into the crime, but I wanted to go housing, and then I'm gonna come back to the crime because on our timeline right here is more people talking about housing, and I think in District 2, in my opinion, probably has been the district, in just my humble opinion, I don't know how you guys, has been in my lifetime, I've never seen people displaced like I saw people displaced in Scott Projects and moved with the notion of coming back, and something was being built for them. And they're still in Florida City,
Right.
in Florida City. So my question about housing right now, and still that area can still be built up. Your opinion of how do you tackle the housing issue? And I guess the second part of the question is, who is it affordable for?
Exactly. Great
I'll let
question.
you go ahead, DC. Take that, Mr. Aristide.
In my introduction, I told you that I lived in that area, Poinciana Park. That was my home. I lived on the last road, 2343 Northwest 72nd Street. I can remember that area like it was yesterday. So when I passed by just 2 days ago, that was the same question I'd asked myself, Luke. In other words, it's still there. It can still be developed. But as we know, once it's developed, there are going to be some other folks who take advantage of before those who were indigenous to that area can call it home. So a lot of people rave about me being too militant. What you mean too militant? To fight for the rights of the people? You don't want that? You won't want us making the proper demands? We have to fight for affordable housing. That has to be our number one fight. Why? Because we are being displaced. We've already been displaced from Scott Project and other folks. Half of them went north to Miami Gardens, half of them went south to Homestead. Now we're being displaced from Overtown in other parts of this city, in this county. So where are our people to go? And another thing, we again all know that once anything new come up, there are going to be other folks who take advantage of that. So we have to be diligent. We have to make the proper demand. We have to be about the task of standing up to those powers that be and call a spade, no matter where it leads us. Why? Because we got the truth on our side. Our people are dying in this community. We make up approximately 20% of the population and are only getting 2% of the pie. 2% of contracts, 2% of procurement. The school board is worse. So we need someone who's not afraid to stand up to those powers, to those bosses, and say, no, let my people go. Do right by our people. Or, like you, Luke, make it a national stink. You weren't afraid to go against the powers that be. And we need that type of leadership to shine a light on the inequities and the social injustices here in Miami-Dade County. One of the first things that the new Mayor Carver did when she was elected, she created an office of equity and inclusion. Well, she knew that we weren't getting our fair share of the pie. So I'm following her footsteps. and make the proper demand and point out every inequity that we have. No more parade waving, no more partying, no more electric sliding. You need a fighter that's going to fight for your rights. And I believe I'm that person.
Mr. Aristide, the same question for you.
Well,
who's it going to be affordable for?
Well, let me say this. I'll tell you who's going to be affordable for. Those wealthy people from New York that you come to Florida, you ain't got to pay no state or local taxes. So for them, it's good for them. For those people in LA, they feel the same way. For those people that come from certain parts of Texas. So those are the people that's moving in. I think something that's going to be important. We need to create a program. We need to create a program where new home ownership is able to get those subsidies to help them out. See, what has occurred is that we have not subsidized those houses because the prices have went up. So the funding we get for the new home ownership is too low. And we know when you talk about the American dream, you got to try to own out. You got to own property. You got to own your own home. That's the basic. So we've got to go ahead and fight for a program to allow people, our folks, to be able to own homes. Then we got to be sensitive to our people. We got to understand their plight. And I think that's a conversation we're having. When you come in and you're a developer, you're going to develop something, because we had a conversation not too long with some developers. We talked about workforce housing. We had some that came in our area. We say there's a bunch of people working over here at Jackson North. It'd be nice. How much hours does the nurse got to work to be able to pay this? How much overtime does the nurse got to do? How many night school jobs does the teacher got to go ahead and work to try to pay this? If I'm a brand new police officer, how many hours I got to work? You're fireman. How much hours I got to work as a fireman? It's not fair. It shouldn't be that way. I remember when I came to Miami-Dade County, when I left Bethune-Cookman University to come here, there were programs like that allowed us to be able to buy a place that was reasonable and affordable. So we've got to help subsidize even more than we've done before. So that is the plan that we need to look at. We need to have that conversation. And I believe equity and access, it needs to be as accessible to us than anybody else. So when you come here to District 2, and this is big, we got to educate people. We got to help people with financial literacy. We got to better know how money works. We got to better know how to pull resources together as a family, as a community, to be able to support our needs. Because see, a lot of the young people, when mom died or a family member is deceased and they leave the home, they want to get out of Miami-Dade County. They want to get whatever funding they can get, because there are people that knock on your door and they'll give you whatever price you want, because they know the value. We got to educate our folks so they can know the value, so they can know the importance. You don't have to leave here. Go ahead and let it go up. I mean, they gave me a price tag 2 years ago for my home. We looked at it. We were so excited, but we did not want to leave our area. We wanted to stay where we were at, because if we leave, there's no place else you can go. So I think that's important. There's got to be community navigation. We've got to train people how to go for different kind of grants. We got to train people to figure out, hey, this is how you, because see, one of the things that hurt us, and I'll be frank, we scared of paperwork. We've got to train our folks to be able to look at the paperwork, decipher the information, so we can make sure that we own these areas that we live in. And we've got to empower ourselves by encouraging each other, supporting one another. That is big for us. We think that's how we're going to get it done. And I think we're getting beat up enough. I've seen what happened in my area by 11 Northwest 47 Terrace. It's gone. That is not the area there. I lived at 1500 Northwest 85th. What I saw just going in that area is a whole different world. I see what's getting ready to happen in North Miami. And North Miami Beach is next, because those are prime property, prime real estate. And there are people that will take advantage of it. And when you go there, you don't even recognize it. So I think this thing about educating folks, especially our young folks, educating them about the value of where they're at. Don't allow yourself to get displaced. That's important, because when you talk about these areas that we live in, one of the things about a lot of these areas, these are the areas at the highest points in Miami-Dade County. We got to know what property we're sitting on. And we got to understand our value and the value of the property that we have. And we've got to get our folks, those that have the access, pull the resources together so we can keep, especially our seniors. That's a big concern of mine. The seniors, they come in and you get a voucher because the seniors, they want a fixed income, right? So now the property value is up. What's going to go up? It's going to be the taxes. Now I got granddad getting ready to be on the street because somebody's got to let them know these are the exemptions you could take advantage of. There are some exemptions out there. So we need to work with some of the tools there, and we need to push to get more for these communities. And we've got to understand these people that's been in these communities, we're the ones that build the community. Wouldn't be Miami-Dade without backs to these other folks, our folks that help build a Miami-Dade.
DC, as you know, 119 is in District 2, correct?
Correct.
79 is in District 2.
Correct.
Those are the two main arteries that connect you from Broward County into Miami-Dade County on a daily basis. That 79 and that 119 is two main arteries. There were conversations before about doing a flyover on 119.
119. That's still in effect, by the way.
And that's where I want to go ahead. Is in the DC Clark plan, is it a plan to develop those main artery streets and be able to create new businesses and new opportunities for African Americans and Haitian Americans? And the second part of it, in your administration, will you support a flyover?
Luke, I was called in initially when that plan got started by Miami-Dade Expressway organization. I sat in on those meetings. They showed me the drawings. They showed me the narrowing of the underpass that will happen for local traffic. But they also showed me that in the next year or two, there are going to be literally thousands of trucks. I'm just telling you, man, it's going to be thousands of trucks using those thoroughfares. You know why? Because now you got Amazon over there in Opelika. Those trucks got to get from there to the air and seaport. So if they're not going to use 119th Street, 103rd Street, 79th Street, what are they going to use? They're not going on the expressway because it's already clogged up. They're going to have to get from west to east. And to be totally honest with you, I haven't made up my mind yet because it's you screw one way and you screw the other way. And so we have to do a little bit more fact finding on that, brother, to be honest with you. It's not an easy question. And if you really care about the people, listen, I'm only 7 streets away from 119th Street on the north side of it. They're going to buy up the next 3 streets over to widen it. That overpass isn't going to be the width of the current 119th Street. It's going to be wider. And you're going to have to buy the homes alongside of that 119th Street, maybe about 2 or 3 streets over. So imagine how much that's going to eliminate some of the property, some of the homeowners. It's a difficult task. It's a tough task. And for me to say yay or nay at this point will be premature. It would be premature. And that's my honest answer.
Mr. Aristide, same question and I wanna add this to it. The same question you, and I'm pretty sure this probably was the question before they ran I-95 through Overtown.
Right.
And the same conversation, the same discussion. And as we know, most African Americans right now have a problem with that. So
no. Let me say this before Aristide come on. There was no discussion over time. That's the difference. They didn't bring now one African American leader to the table and say that we're thinking about doing this. They just did it. Mm-hmm. That's the only difference that I see. because there were individuals like myself and a few others that you know that I won't mention at this time, are sitting at the table and talking about it and talking about the pluses and minuses and how African Americans can maintain or flourish because of it. They do have that within the conversation. All right. I will give them that, but it doesn't make the conversation any easier.
Mr. Aristide, same question for you about development of 119th and 79th Street, and would you support a flyover?
I think we've got to go there and look and see what this look like, because there are people there making decisions. We would need to see where they are with the decision process. I would say this: if there was an opportunity where these people were going, and you told me that there was going to be a stop, there was going to be an opportunity in District 2 where people could come there and they could have businesses and they would service some of these folks, that's a different conversation. It's one of these things, like, you feel like you're going to go there from 95, and the people that live in the area, they don't get nothing out the deal. Something in that just don't sound right. So I really need to look at it closely, because it shouldn't be that way. There should have been a conversation, a dialogue. How do the people that live in that area benefit? What can we do? Because I mean, the plan is coming right over that particular district, going right over that 119. I don't know where the conversations were as far as a dialogue. How does this benefit the people? Because all the people are complaining is going to negatively impact their property values. It's not going to be good for that community. And I do see there's a bunch of, they're building up that community. There's developers that are really getting that area built up. We need to look at that and see, what do we get out of it? You just can't come and do something and we get nothing. I think that's very problematic. And I think that's where you get the resentment and the hard feelings with folks. Now, there's also something else, a transportation, a smart plan that's coming from Miami Gardens, I would say from County Line Road to 58th Street. They're going to go to the airport. They're going to go to Brickell. Now, that plan is supposed to be able to positively impact and get some resources, economic resources in District 2. So I think that plan is a plan we need to go ahead and also look at that plan and see how it helps our folks. I think one of the things in the conversation has got to be, as you put these things into effect, how does it help the quality of life that people that live there? Because they're the ones going to be dealing with it, not no other folks. The people that live there is the one that's going to be impacted. The conversation to me would have been, is there employment opportunities? Is there training to help them so they can be employed? I think those are the conversations. If we want to help folks, and we just heard it, access, inclusion, equity, you name it, but are the folks there getting that? Because see, one of the things I normally see in District 2, I see a lot of people come to work in District 2, they just don't seem like they're from District 2. So if there's going to be projects and things going to be done, let's get the people from District 2. You know, is that conversation, hey, we ain't got nobody. Well, let's train some people. So as a commissioner, we got to have that conversation. If you tell me there's nobody, let's train some people so we can have somebody's. It's better for the community. Then you don't create this animus and animosity, and there's always a perception these folks are coming after us. We got to go ahead and get folks to understand that's going to be the expectation as a county commissioner in District 2. You're going to have that conversation. You're going to have that dialogue. And I think it's important to have that communication with the community. I've been working with the community for years. And sometimes it's a strong language. It's strong dialogue. But I've never taken it personal. I've always listened. You can't be comfortable when you raise your hand and say, I want to be the county commissioner. Here come the dialogue, and we running from the dialogue. We can't run from the dialogue. And I agree. I do see something about the floods. I think that's important. I was negatively impacted by that. Whatever they put over there in Sweetwater is good enough for District 2. And I think if we have to go and talk to people in Tallahassee, Commissioner may have to go down there and go talk to the people in Tallahassee. If we need to go talk to people from DC to be able to help our communities, they will understand you're a commissioner of Miami-Dade and you're asking for relief support. And if you got to speak to your representative, we need to go speak to our folks. They're there. We know where they are. We got to communicate with them.
Let me add this, Luke. The same people who are dealing with this subject matter, they know the history of Overtown. They know that Black people have bad feelings about that. They truly do. That's why they'll come to you and say, well, 30 and 40% of the workforce will come from the community. That's the first thing they say. So they're saying some good things. They know that they have to revitalize the businesses on that street. Even our boy, Jack at the rib shop will be infected. You understand me? Because it comes right through past his place. So the local traffic, here's the question. Do we want uncluttered local traffic that will be reduced to 2 lanes on each side of that highway and let the big trucks, 18-wheelers, go up high? Or do we say, no, we don't want the same thing that happened in Overtown happen to this community, but have to deal with the trucks now coming on 119th Street, 79th Street, 103rd Street to get over to the port? It's 6 and 1, half a dozen to the other. And so whoever is the commissioner have to do their fact finding, have to revisit those meetings, and more importantly, ask the community, give the community the choice and see what they prefer. Because either way, it's not going to be that pretty in my estimation.
Uncle Luke, you want to put that, get off mute? You're on mute. You're on mute.
I'm on. I put myself on mute all the time.
No, it's okay.
That's 2 times. So I normally give myself 3 times before I snap myself. Mr. Aristide, we talked about crime earlier, and if there's a second topic that most people on this comment in these comments are mentioning, what do you guys see, and how are you planning on dealing with crime in District 2?
I'll say this: there are people already paying to help us deal with crime. These people are supposed to serve and protect. I think we need to have a conversation, a dialogue. What's that going to look like in District 2? I've seen some areas where they have people that are working as law enforcement. They get engaged. They get to know the community. And then something that was put in the text is good to get people from the community that could communicate with people in the community. See, one of the things that happened in my world of work, we always communicate with that resource officer, that police officer. That police officer has a relationship with those young people on a daily. So that police officer know those people. Because that police officer know those people, that police officer can prevent a lot of times some of the problems that are occurring in that particular school or that particular locale. So I think the officers have got to know the people in the community. We've got to engage them. We've got to engage their leadership. We've got to come together collectively, because when it impacts the community, it impacts them. And they got to know what their expectations are. And I'm going to be clear. The expectation has got to be serve and protect. We've got to serve the community. I go to houses door to door, and one of the big things they tell me, they're looking for the service. They say they want to see the service. And I think that's how we've got to go ahead and look at that. And we've got to have those dialogues, those conversations. We've got to meet with them, and the community got to be involved. This has got to be a community thing. We've got to do it collectively, because the community is dealing with the problems. You see an uptick here in our area, and it's got to be addressed, because on that 119th we're talking about, one of the things that business owners have told me, they would like to see more presence. They would like to see them. They like to see them drive by, because they feel there's really not a presence, because they feel sometimes when it's a presence, it's a deterrent. So those are the things, and I think we got to have this conversation, this dialogue as a community. How does the community expect us to ensure that they get the proper service, that they feel protected? And something that was mentioned there, and I think is big, because a lot of people talk about it. They do talk about the lighting. They do talk about it's too dark. I think part of that conversation is we got to see the lighting as safety. And sometimes we see it as a FP&L thing, got nothing to do with safety. We've got to look at how we go ahead and support that. How do we fund that? Because it's got to be part of our plan for safety. Because see, there are people, and I have a lot of scenes I've had a chance to communicate. they hear a disturbance, they don't want to go out there. It's dark. They don't want to get hurt, but they have some lights. And you know how seniors could be. They'll look through the window and see what's going on. They can identify, hey, there's a problem. This is what was witnessed. They can have that communication conversation. But if it's pitch dark, you can't do that. So I think for us, those are some things that we've got to address. And it's got to be the community got to be involved. They got to be engaged. They've got to be part of our solution.
Mr. Clark, the same question to you about crime, and you're right about the lights, Mr. Aristide. I stood up there at Reed's Catering at the truck where we all frequent, and right across the street there's the tire shop, and the light was off, and we saw a gentleman walk into the street. And when the gentleman walked into the street, the car ran him clean over. And it was a nice man. We all know, coming home from work, he was just driving his car, and he never saw the guy. And I immediately got on the phone and called the next day to the commissioner in the area and said, look, y'all got to get these lights fixed because it's dark. They just murdered a man right on the street, right in the front of all of us. But again, and at the same time, they play Hot Wheel tracks on 27th Avenue and 119. So the crime, DC, how do you feel about what do you in a DC office? How do you deal with the crime issues that you may have in District 2?
Listen, I apologize in advance if this phone cuts off. I'm having some problems charging. But the first thing I would do is have a stern conversation with the police chief and his subordinate, simply because during the Black Lives Matter rally last couple of years, the term defund the police was very prevalent. Now, the police is like an organization, is like a union, right? And when you do something to this particular union, they react on what you are doing. And I know this because I work closely as a firefighter with them. I've seen them at their best and I've seen them at their worst. So I want to know, are they with the citizens of Miami-Dade County? Because some unions will slow down if they don't get their way in their union contracts. And if you're talking about defunding the police, that's a reason for them to say, well, we're going to respond, but we're not going to respond with the zeal that we normally respond. And I got to make sure right off the bat that they are responding to every citizen complaint just like they would their own mothers and fathers. That's number one. Number two, the word defund should be replaced with reorganization. Why? Because there are things that a police shouldn't be the front man on, like a disturbed individual. Well, some disturbed individuals become upset and resort to violence, but most of them do not. So the police should act as a backup role and let a healthcare professional be the first responder in order to talk that person out of what he or she had planned to do, if it's harm to themselves. Also, I want to work with the police, with gentlemen like Dr. Armand Henderson, who has adopted a plan. I think Newark, New Jersey have adopted the same plan where they include safe houses for people who are struggling can come to before the police shoot them down in the streets. Talk to the police about what role they should have versus what role the community should have. We want to make this a safer place, and I think that the police wants that as well. You understand me? And fourth, I don't want the police to use traffic stops, driving while black, as a means to increase their coffer. In other words, the more arrests, the more money we get in our coffers. Stop that, because those arrests, those stops, those simple headlight stops oftentimes result into the death and murder of a young black man and black women. So we got some things we need to talk about, the community and the police. And I think a stern conversation between whoever heads District 2 and the police to find out what their role is will suffice and make this community a better place.
Hey, I think guys, we had a great conversation. We can go on. We can go on all night long because we just know there's so many things that we can cover. You know, in talking about the things that's needed in District 2. So at this time, I'm gonna let you guys do your closing, and I can get you out of here so you can go and enjoy the rest of your night. And we'll start off with you, Mr. Aristide.
Well, I'll say this. Tonight, I really enjoyed myself. I thought it was a great conversation. I thought some great questions, and I saw a lot of stuff from the audience, some things that we need to get your feedback. This is your campaign. This is not about no candidate. This is not about an individual. This is about all of us. We all got to come together to make this a better place for all of us to live. So if you live in Larchmont, if you live in Little River, if you live in Little River Farms, if you live in Biscayne Gardens, if you live over there off of 119th 7th Avenue, 79th Street to Golden Glades, you live in North Miami, you live in North Miami Beach. We got a little section on south of 112 in the city of Miami, a little section over there in Opelika near 135th, a little section on the west side over there by Hialeah. Those are the makeup of District 2. We need to come together and see a District 2 that works for each and every one of us collectively. So if you can join us, get on the platform, succeed with Aristide. Let's go ahead and succeed together. This campaign is about us. It's about all of us. You have a candidate that's accessible. You have a candidate that has a vision for the future. And I think you can tell you have a candidate that's passionate about a community that I grew up in, a community that I have so much love, a community that's done a lot for me. I came here off the backs of the people that are listening, you, your family members, your parents, your grandparents, and others that might be listening. Let's come together. Let's work it out. Succeed with Aristide. You get our information, IG. You get us on Facebook. We have Wednesdays with Wallace. You'll see that on YouTube. You'll see those conversations that we're having around District 2. This is a community that my wife and I decided that we want to serve. This is about serving leadership. This is not about leadership that feels that they got to be put on a pedestal. We feel is we're a bunch of nobodies. We're in a hurry as fast as we can to tell everybody about a District 2 because they said a high tide lifts all ship. If we get a high tide in District 2, we'll get a high tide somebody else. There was a something that was mentioned at a place that I worked at in Liberty City. They say what good could come in Liberty City. I can tell you what good came out of Liberty City. An A school, 95% graduation rate, $10 million in scholarship money, mostly academics. So that can get done. We can do something collectively in District 2 that nobody expects, nobody can see over the horizon. So come and help us. Succeed with Aristide, SUCCEED. Let's succeed together. Get on our platforms, connect us. Go to wallacearistide.com. We need your help. We can't do without you. Thank you so much for listening to us, District 2. We look forward to working for you as your next county commissioner.
You still muted, brother?
Three times.
The third time.
That's the third time. I told you the third time. Mr. Clark, your closing.
Well, I'm going to say this. I love that young man who just came off of this airways. He's always been a friend of mine. And after this election, he's going to continue to be a friend of mine. But this election is not about him or about me. The election is about you, the people. It's your concerns. It's your anxieties. It's your fears. It's your safety. It's about you. You don't need another politician that get elected and soon become a celebrity. That's the last thing you need. You need a man with a track record of serving the people. Serving the people is not a bad word to me. As a matter of fact, it's the most constructive and loving thing you can do to your neighbor. is to serve that neighbor. And you are my neighbor. I've been living in the trenches. I've been living in the streets in the same neighborhood as you all of my adult life. And I want to continue to serve you, not as a politician, but as a servant, to make sure your voice is heard, to make sure your fears are alleviated, to make sure that they know what District 2 deserves, and to make sure that we ask the correct question so that we can get the correct answer. This election is about the people, you, the people. And I would love to be your servant. You can go to www.williamdcclark.com to access any information on me. You can also go to Facebook. All you have to do is check out my track record of service. Check out all of their track records of service. It'll tell you where they've been and where they're going. It could tell you whether or not they serve a small section of the community or the entire community. I've served one end of this district to the other. I've served one end of this county to the other. Check my track record. Check out what I've done in the past. I want you to feel comfortable with my accomplishments, but ultimately, I want you to feel confident with my service to my fellow human beings of all ethnicities. Thank you for listening to us, and we'll see each other down the road. Thank you very much.
Hey, man, I want to thank you.
My brother. Much love.
I want to thank you.
Same to you.
I want to thank you, brothers, and thank the audience for participating. Again, this will be rebroadcast after rebroadcast, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people that are looking at it now, more people will look at it later. But again, good luck to both of you guys. And I saw one of the comments in here, Mr. Washington, and I think that was the most fitting comment. Regardless of the victors, both gentlemen should vow to work together. And I could pretty much answer that for both of these guys, because they ain't nothing but brothers. They love each other. They love each other, so you ain't got to worry about that.
Right, no doubt.
Hey, thank y'all. Y'all have a great day and happy campaigning.
All right, thank you, Luke. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you, everybody.
All right, take care.